Good morning, Wellspring. Good morning. My name is Judy Bethman, and I'm part of your Sunday service team for February 11th, 2024. All right, we have a few announcements. Early birds meet Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is on the website and in the weekly email. Our upcoming speakers for February. Today we have Dr. Edward. On the 18th, we have Reverend Sandy Scott, and on the 25th, Reverend Karmatara. You can't hear me? I don't want to spread my germs on the microphone.
You're the only one using it today.
Do we handy wipe the microphone?
Yes, absolutely, religiously.
Uh-oh, you better find the thing again. Okay, give it. All righty. The Thursday evening group meets every week at 7 p.m. and they're watching a variety of videos and good question and answer discussion, correct? Okay. Today is the Wellsprings annual meeting. After the service, we will have a salad luncheon and then the meeting. There will be a copy of last year's annual minutes on the table in the social hall. Please take a moment during lunch to read the minutes for your approval, because we need congregational approval to pass last year's minutes. The agenda for this meeting is the treasurer's report on Wellspring finances, property updates, outreach, tithing, board candidates and voting, questions and answers. Speaking of board candidates, there's a board vacancy upcoming. Please consider thoughtfully about the full import of joining the board, as it does work for our beloved Wellspring's highest and best good. For more information, please talk to any board meeting during our lunch. All right, Jeannie, you want to come up? And this is the last chance you get, because tomorrow's the day, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And I will be using the microphone, but I'm not worried.
Okay.
We're gonna start. Yeah, we're gonna start by amusing the crowd, and we're gonna start by amusing the folks here, and we're just going to ask our dowsing team to change any kind of energy on this microphone to what's most positive and beneficial for all. Everybody got a free little dowsing lesson here. And now it is done. And so it is, right guys? There you go. How do you like that? So tomorrow, we are pleased to have my good friend Faye Henry here. She's already in town. I've been seeing her a little bit. She came here for another recording she was doing of a special event. So tomorrow we're going to have her here. We'll have all her Tibetan drums lined up here on the stage, and we're going to have a really great performance of what she does, which is fantastic. I've been blessed to go to it for many, many years. We were trying to figure out how long we've known each other, but we decided it was since we were young and good looking. So she has a fantastic performance. It is so good for your body and your soul. Edward and I have discussed how we'll have half the sanctuary with chairs for those who'd rather sit, and half available for yoga mats and reclining chairs for those who wish that kind of experience. When I have gotten done attending her things, I've seen many people up under the drums, and she is soft stepping over them as she's continuing. It is really something to come in that way. So please do come. Please spread the word. 7 o'clock, $30 per person. I will have, by that time, been trained to take all kinds of money. There's stuff I've never heard of, like Vimo, and I'm going to be learning new online tricks. You'll give me a lot of grace as I do that. Okay. Now, On the 17th, I will be giving a dowsing class. Were there any questions in there? Or was Vicki just having fun with somebody?
He said he'd bring cash, and it's like, what's that?
Oh, I can do cash, easy. I'm good with cash. I'm good at making change, the old-fashioned way. I count it back, you know? Yeah, talented. Okay, on the 17th, on Saturday, I will be doing a dowsing class on map dowsing and ley lines. So map dowsing is using a map with pendulum or whatever to find something before you have to actually go there to find it, which comes in handy in case it's snowing or whatever, or in case it's really muddy. And then when you get there, you can fine-tune it to a small area. We had such a good time starting on that talk last month. We're going to continue it. Then I'll launch into ley lines, and that is the energetic lines of energy around the earth and where they cross over and what happens in those crossover points. And because there are so many other people out there who explain things better than I, we'll be showing a video of another good friend of mine who does a wonderful job of explaining them and talking about all he's researched in his native Scotland and Ireland and England. Really, it's going to be great. And I believe Edward has me scheduled to give a Sunday talk on the first Sunday of March. Yes. Okay. Thank you all.
Isn't it nice to have Wellspring being used by so many different people and venues and ideas? I think that's a real expansion for us.
We're a community center.
Exactly.
I'm happy to help make that happen.
And we're happy to have you. All right, Lunch Bunch meets at 11:30 this Wednesday at Cracker Barrel. And lastly, it's the 11th, right?
14th, Valentine's.
Today's the 11th, 12, 13, okay. All right, it's January 14th. It's, you know what I mean. Okay. Oh, this Wednesday, show up, be there, eat. Okay, and lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve you and support you. You may submit your request via our webpage or give it to Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesday afternoons at 4:15 to pray with you. Please consider sitting in your quiet space during that time. We know we are one in spirit, and the energy of prayer knows no limits. Let us all breathe in, hold, and release. Let's do that again, and as we release, we're going to release all tensions and apprehensions from last week. Breathe in and release. We invite Spirit to come to this beloved place. Although we know Spirit is around us every moment, it likes to get invited. I know because it told me so. I think that we as a church are so open to all the mysteries that are on the planet that when Spirit comes to us in whatever shape or form, we smile and acknowledge its presence. We are so thankful that we have this beloved church or community center or new spiritual idea place. Whatever its name, we know that love prevails. For this we give great gratitude for love and for each other, and so it is. All right, Song of Joy, put a little love in your heart. Thank you. You may be seated. Let us read our vision, mission, and affirmation statements. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation: I am the place where love shows up. I shine the light of love for all who cross my path and realign with spirit when my love light feels dim. Wellspring is a radiant center of love for each other and our entire community. All right, and Barry has a musical rendition. What's this called, Barry?
This one is California Dream.
Mama Cass, right? Boy, that puts me back a few decades. Okay. The reading from today is from Science of Mind, and this is the April 2021 volume for April 13th. Ed Ernest Holmes says, "The self we see is what man has thought about himself, the form he has molded by his thought." Your good is not somebody else's driveway, in somebody else's home, or in somebody else's arm. Furthermore, there is enough to go around. There is not scarcity. It is given to you as you believe. What you do honestly believe about your life and what is possible for you. You either believe you can have a great life filled with peace, love, joy you imagined, or you don't. We are great at kidding ourselves, creating lists of what we'd like to have in our lives, while at the same time living in fear that we'll never have them. Ask yourself, Who am I beneath all this fear that I'll never realize my dreams? Where have I brought into the notion that I am not deserving, that someone else is smarter, more attractive, or more capable than I am? Beneath all your fears that you are not worthy is a consciousness within you that knows your connection to spirit, that knows you can live a life of your dreams. That part of you knows exactly what to do and how to do it for your own self-realization. This earthly experience is existing because you get to feel and sense the material world, but there is nothing better than to experience it from consciousness, the consciousness of knowing better than to experience, wait a second, let me do this again. The earthly experience is exciting because you get to feel and sense the material world, but there is nothing better than to experience it from a consciousness of knowing and truly realizing the Christ present within. Love, peace, and joy are the instruments through which you stake the thrill of living in this material world. Life is thrilling and safe and beautiful, and is for you. It's never against you. And this was written by Jennifer Picnic, who has a PhD. That was very, very nice reading. Thank you, Edward. And so it's my great privilege to bring Edward up to the podium and listen to his great message. I'm not going to give him a hug because I don't want to spread germs.
Thank you, Judy. Are you all enjoying the snow? Yes? Hey, it's February. You know, we still got, what, six more weeks before it's spring? Something like that. Yeah. No, I love it. So this morning, I want to start off by reading something that I saw on Facebook the other day. And I decided to look into it a little more and found out the source and so forth. And I know what you're saying. When does Edward ever look at Facebook? He doesn't even realize that folks have sent him birthday wishes until weeks after his birthday. Oh, well, that's me. Yeah. So the name of this article, story, is called, Are You a Duck or an Eagle? And the source that I found it from was Rhonda Hamilton. And she relates a story about another author and speaker, Harvey McKay. And she says, as a speaker, I find myself in and out of airports, rental cars, and taxi cabs. Most of the time, my personal taxi cab experiences are not very pleasant. There are exceptions, but as a rule, here is what I find. If it's hot weather, the air conditioner isn't running. Some windows are down and the stifling hot air blows my hair all over my head, which is not the best scenario if I'm headed to a business meeting. Now, this is true for men as well as women. The interior of the vehicles are dirty. I hate to touch anything. The drivers make only necessary conversation to find out my destination, and oftentimes talk on their cell phones in languages foreign to me. It gives me an uneasy feeling, and I find myself wondering if we are taking the most direct route to my destination. Other times, the driving is fast and aggressive towards other drivers. Clearly, in these situations, the emphasis is not on providing a high level of customer service. Now, raise your hand if you've had similar experiences riding in taxis. I tell you, they think that by driving crazy that you feel like you're going to get there faster. Reminds me of some Las Cruces drivers, by the way. But anyway, so she says, Harvey's story, that's Harvey McKay, goes something like this. He was waiting in line for a ride at the airport. When a cab pulled up, the first thing Harvey noticed was that the taxi was polished to a bright shine. Smartly dressed in a white shirt, black tie, and freshly pressed black slacks, the driver jumped out and rounded the car to open the back passenger door for Harvey. He handed him a laminated card and said, I'm Wally, your driver. While I'm loading your bags in the trunk, I'd like you to read my mission statement. Wow. Taken aback, Harvey read the card. It said, Wally's mission statement: to get my customers to their destination in the quickest, safest, and cheapest way possible in a friendly environment. This blew Harvey away, especially when he noticed the inside of the cab matched the outside, spotlessly clean. As he slid behind the wheel, Wally said, "Would you like a cup of coffee? I have a thermos of regular and one of decaf." Harvey half-jokingly said, "No thanks, I prefer soft drinks." Wally smiled and said, "No problem. I have a cooler up front with regular and Diet Coke, water, and orange juice." Almost stuttering, Harvey said, "I'll take a Diet Coke." Handing him his drink, Wally said, "If you'd like something to read, I have the Wall Street Journal, Time, Sports Illustrated, and USA Today." As they were pulling away, Wally handed my friend another laminated card. "These are the stations I get and the kind of music they play. If you'd like to listen to the radio, just let me know which station you prefer." And as if that weren't enough, Wally told Harvey that he had the air conditioning on and asked him if the temperature was comfortable to him. Then he advised Harvey of the best route to his destination for that time of the day. He also let him know that he'd be happy to chat with him and tell him about some of the sights, or, if Harvey preferred, to leave him in his own thoughts. Harvey was absolutely amazed and asked the driver, "Tell me, Wally, have you always served customers like this?" Wally smiled in the rearview mirror. "No, not always. In fact, it's only been in the last 2 years. My first 5 years driving, I spent most of my time complaining like the rest of the cabbies do. Then I heard the personal growth guru, Wayne Dyer, on the radio one day. He had just written a book called You'll See It When You Believe It. Mr. Dyer said that if you get up in the morning expecting to have a bad day, you'll rarely disappoint yourself. He said, stop complaining, differentiate yourself from the competition. Don't be a duck, be an eagle. Ducks quack and complain, eagles soar above the crowd. That hit me right between the eyes, said Wally. Mr. Dyer was really talking about me. I was always quacking and complaining, so I decided to change my attitude and become an eagle. I looked around at the other cabs and their drivers. Their cabs were dirty, the drivers were unfriendly, and the customers were unhappy. So I decided to make some changes. I put in a few at a time. When my customers responded well, I did some more. Harvey says, well, Wally, I take it that's paid off for you. It sure has, Wally replied. My first year as an eagle, I doubled my income from the previous year. This year, I'll probably quadruple it. Wally says, you were lucky to get me today. I don't sit at cab stands anymore. My customers call me for appointments on my cell phone or leave a message on my answering machine. If I can't pick them up, I get a reliable cabbie friend to do it, and I take a piece of the action. Wally was phenomenal. He was running a limo service out of a yellow cab. So that was, anyway, I really enjoyed that. And I thought there's an awful lot in that, if we want to break it down, is to basically, and it's a Wayne Dyer thing, it's going to kind of match with our philosophy. But I think the first one that I want to remind us of is choose your thinking, change your life. I hardly need to mention that one to this group. Another one is just taking the next step. Rather than trying to eat the entire elephant right now, we just do what's immediately in front of us. As we say, what is ours to do at this moment? And we can add that we leave the rest up to Spirit. Let Spirit take care of it. Or show us what is next ours to do once we have completed what is our immediate step. And of course, we know that physical presentation matters, as in the cab's appearance. We can't say we don't notice appearances ourselves. Have you ever driven down a street, or even your own street, and had thoughts or comments about what might be going on in the lives of those living in the houses? Wealthy, poor, elderly, widows or widowers, well or sick, divorced. You see a house that last month the yard was perfectly cut and everything, and this month it's starting to deteriorate, and next month it's even worse. Something major happened in that house. Anyway, do we apply that same discerning eye to ourselves and wonder how we appear to those we meet? Just a question. And it's not just physical presentation. What attitudes or actions are we presenting to others? Do we come across as supportive and loving? Or are we so insecure that we need to cut everyone around us down? Are we secure enough that we can listen to opposing viewpoints without having to rebut what is being said? Their viewpoints may have validity, or some validity that we haven't thought about. Listen with curiosity. And can we just extend love if we can't do anything else? So that might be a way of fostering an attractive attitude. I have lunch with a couple of, more than a couple, mature gentlemen every week. Of course, we do speak about health challenges that folks might be going through. We also share jokes and the good things happening in our lives. We care about each other. And I realize I could probably be a little more positive. That's just a small step that I can make. So let's think about this in a broader perspective, the Wellspring community. I think you just have to look at the way we greet new folks or at our after-service community gatherings as an indication that we are a welcoming community. I think most would agree. Personally, I think it was last Sunday, I was looking at that. We had 2 tables chock full of people just visiting and having talking, sharing. And those of us in early birds and the Thursday evening groups do our best to be loving and accepting of others' viewpoints as well. And I think we do a pretty good job of that. Someone once asked, I feel like I've settled all my karma for this lifetime, so why am I still here? Why am I still alive? Well, the blunt response might be that you or we don't transition till we were done. So if we're still here in the physical, we're not done. Maybe a kinder and gentle response would be that if you're still here, it's because you still have gifts to give. The world still needs your energy, love, experience to support what it does. So, even though sometimes we think that life on the other side is where we really want to be, being here doesn't have to be all negative. In the same sense as the world or the consciousness of the world is going through this transitionary period, the wisdom and guidance of old souls is required to support the new consciousness, perhaps to thin the veil for the Aquarian children. You know, John the Baptist was said his job was to make the way ready for the Lord, make the road straight for him. Is our purpose similar to this? Could you ask, what is mine to do? Or better yet, what is mine to be in this time and place? Back to the story, the original author said, I've probably told this story to more than 50 cab drivers over the years, and only 2 took the idea and ran with it. Whenever I go to their cities, I give them a call. The rest of the drivers quacked like ducks and told me all the reasons they couldn't do any of what I was suggesting. Well, you know, perhaps their lives were okay. Sometimes described as not too painful. The pain is something that's tolerable. I can live with my discomfort. That they didn't need to change a thing, or maybe they were too afraid, or maybe they were too lazy to put in the effort. So they made excuses. The expression is, if you argue for your limitations, the result is you get to keep them. So think about that. And I agree, sometimes it is a challenge to change. Others might say, oh, you can't do that. And you tell yourself, or maybe, you know, it's not going to make that much difference. Well, if you can't go all the way, just make little changes. At least start. And in the reading today, it was a hidden gem. You know, the roadmap to our life is in our consciousness. It's not in their neighbor's driveway or the other places. You know, we have that roadmap. And I know some folks have experienced that they've decided they want to make a change, and suddenly it seems that things get worse. A lot of times people will say that about, well, I joined this new thought congregation and they were all talking this love and wonderful stuff, but how come my life seems to have turned into whatever? Well, you know, sometimes we need a little extra persuasion, perhaps. But the other thing is that all this love and light and energy is bringing up the stuff that's clouding our perception of ourselves. So yeah, it seems like junk comes up. But if you think about it, as our goal is oneness with Spirit. Spirit's goal for us is the same thing. So isn't it out of a sense of love that we would participate with Spirit to remove the cloudiness in our energy, in our expression of love, things like that? And then a lot of times we say, well, can you really make a difference? You know, it's just one of us, there's just 24 of us. Can we really make a difference? Well, there's plenty of research now that says it doesn't take that many. It's not like you have to get 50% of the people involved in something to see a change. It's somewhere around 3% of any group that can make a huge impact on the entire group. So the other way I want to cast this idea of changing is maybe a little more proactive approach. And that is, let's live from the perspective of being drawn by the results we envision rather than being pushed by conflict or unhappiness or disease. And how do you do that? Well, you've got that roadmap inside. Anyway, so now go and be the very best you can. The very best you can be is all that's being asked of you. And so it is. It is. Thank you. Earlier, Judy invoked spirit in this very place, in this very room. There's quite enough spirit. I feel that. Those who have gone before, those who are yet to be here, this is all part of the oneness, this wonderful oneness that we are a part of. So we know that every event in our life is there out of love, is there to help us unfold, rediscover that marvelous human being each and every one of us is. We know there are friends and family who are going through challenges, be they health challenges, financial challenges. It really doesn't matter. Challenges come with solutions. Each and every one of us, our friends and family, have that solution within the challenge as part of their divine blueprint. So we know that Spirit is unfolding in divine perfection in the midst of all of these challenges. Not only these personal and individual challenges, but the challenges we perceive in the world. Somehow, some way, that is divine perfection unfolding. It may simply be by contrast in what we don't want in our future. But we know that there is Spirit in there somewhere. So we just wrap all of these challenges, all these concerns, everything that may be bothering us, we wrap them up in this golden packaging, tie it with a golden string. This is for us to do. And now we can hand this package over to the law of love, the guidance, the divine, whatever you want to call it. It is now being operated on even as we considered the need. So we give great thanks for our understanding of how this actually works. Works in our lives, it works in the lives of everyone we know and meet, and it works in the universe. We release it and we let it go. And we say, and so it is. Perry, now we have some more music. Thank you, Barry. I'm not Vicky. Now it's time for our offering. And as Jim is bringing the basket forward, thank you, Jim. We see this basket overflowing with love, joy, and peace, energy that is being shared by each and every one of us. As we acknowledge we are part of the divine flow, we support Wellspring with these funds, and we know that Wellspring also tithes from these offerings to other, mostly local organizations. So we give thanks for the acknowledgement and the affirmation of the abundance of the divine. And so it is. Thank you, Jim. And now there are a few others who have contributed today to making this the very best service we could. And Judy, thank you. And Barry, thank you for the music. And Brenda, thank you for back there in the little hidden spot. And Edwin for manning the camera. And we sometimes forget to thank our, what do we call it? The hospitality crew that puts together the lunches and the coffee and so forth. So thank you, Sharon and Jim and a few others who contribute. So now if you'll stand, I think it is going to be time for our benediction and then the peace song. And after that, join us all next door for a little salad luncheon, and don't forget we have the annual meeting coming up after that. So, Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature, and flow through us into the